Hi everyone, welcome back to the course. In the last video, we talked about what a command line is and what are Unix based operating system and why they have different commands from non-Unix based operating system like Windows. And in this video, we are going to learn about different commands so that we can get familiar with the command line. So before we get started, we need to know about two things. First is shell and the second is terminal. Now, shell is an interface to interact with the operating system. So in the last video we talked about user interface. It's the same thing. It's an interface to interact with an operating system. So it's a command line interface. And the second thing is a terminal. Terminal is an application where you write your command and you see the output. So this is how it works. You first write your command in the terminal, and the terminal sends that command to the shell, and the shell interprets it. It makes sense of that command, it understands it, and it gives that to the operating system, which processes that command. So the shell is the interface which you use to interact with the operating system, and the terminal is the application where you write your command and where you see the output. Now, there are two terminal applications. One is for Mac OS, it's called Terminal. Another is for Windows, it's called Command Prompt. Now, I want you to open up Terminal if you're on Mac, Command Prompt if you're on Windows, and we are going to write some command, learn a little bit of command line. So, this is how a command prompt looks like. Okay, so the first command we are going to look at is called pwd or print working directory, and in Mac it's pwd and in Linux also it's pwd because as we talked in the last video they both are Unix based operating system, and in Windows you have to type cd space comma. Now what this command does is it outputs your current working directory. Now what do I mean by current working directory? So in Windows, you have used File Explorer, in Mac, Finder. When you open these File Explorers, you open a certain folder, okay? And that folder is your working directory. Like that's the folder you're working on, right? So in the same way, when you open up a terminal, it has a current working directory, and you can see that working directory the on the line where you type your command. So this is my current working directory. This is a folder I am in right now in my command line. So it's just like your file explorer. You are in this folder right now. So you can see that is your current working directory. You can see it on the line where you type your command. Next thing is for Mac OS, the default directory is it's called the tilde symbol. It's shorthand for user slash username. So that is your default directory when you open up a terminal in Mac. For Windows, it's C users username, your username. Okay, so I want you to open up the terminal or the command prompt and type with me cd space comma, press enter. So this gives you your current working directory. So that is one of the most basic command in the command line. The next command we are going to learn about is the list command. Now, what a list command does is it gives you the list of files and folders that are in your working directory. So you have opened up a folder in File Explorer or Finder, and you can see all the files that are in this folder, right? And so that's what this command does. It gives you all the files and folders that are in your working directory. So let's try it again. Go to your command prompt and type dir if you are on Windows, and if you're on Mac it's called ls. Okay, so now you can see there are all of these files in this directory, my current working directory. And you can see there's desktop folder, there's document folder, there's download folders. Okay, so for Windows it's dir, for Mac it's ls. Now the next command is really important. It's called the change directory command or the cd command. Okay, so what this command does is it allows you to change your working directory. What I mean by that is, so in your file explorer, you are in your working directory, and inside that directory you can open up another folder, or you can go back in your file explorer. So you can move around in your file explorer in the same way the cd command helps you to move around and change your working directory in the terminal. And the syntax for this command is, and by the way, syntax is is the structure in which you write your command or your code. For cd command, it's cd space the path of the directory you want your current working directory to be. So, for example, I can change my, for example, right now I'm in C users and my username. And I can change the directory. I can go inside this desktop folder, for example. I can do that by typing cd space desktop, press enter, and now you can see that my current working directory is changed. Okay, now there are two types of paths. So the first one is called the relative path, and this desktop I've written, this is a relative path. Now what a relative path is, it's the path relative to your working directory. So for example, right now I'm in C users and my username. So relative to this folder, I have another folder inside it, it's called desktop, and it's relative to my current working directory. And so I can type cd space desktop and I can go inside the desktop folder. Now, relative to this folder, so right now my working directory is C users, username, and desktop. I can go back by typing cd space dot dot. Press enter, and I can go back relative to where I am right now. So this dot dot represents the previous directory. Okay, so you can go inside a folder, you can go come back from a folder, and all of these are relative paths relative to your current directory. So I can even do something like this. I can go inside desktop, I can see all the files that we have in desktop. So there's this folder, I can go inside this folder, and I can go back multiple directories. So to go back multiple directories, I can go cd dot dot slash dot dot, and this will take me two folders back because I've written dot dot twice. So yeah, now you can see I'm in C users and my username. I can go inside again by typing cd desktop slash and the folder name. So I can go inside multiple directories by typing multiple folder names. So this is how you move around inside your command line. Now all of these are relative paths because this is relative to the current working directory that I am in right now. Now there is another type of path, it's called the absolute path. So the absolute path is when you use the entire path of the working directory that you want to go in. So for example, let's say I want to go inside the users. Now one thing I can do is I can go back multiple directories, and this will take me to users, right? Another thing I can do is, so let me go back. Another thing I can do is I can type the absolute path. So this is the absolute path. So this is the absolute path of the users folder. Now this will take me directly to the users. I don't have to type multiple times this backslash. I don't have to type multiple times these dots. I can go inside any directory with their absolute path. So for example, I want to go here. I can use this path as my absolute path. So this is the difference between absolute path and relative path. Relative path is relative to the working directory that you are in right now, and absolute path is the entire path of the folder you want to go in. Now, another thing that I want to mention is for Windows user, right now I'm in C drive. There are different drives in Windows. So if you want to go in another drive, for example, your G drive, you don't have to type cd g slash. This will not work because right now you're in C drive. To go into G drive, you have to type G and then colon, press enter. This will take you to your G drive, and now you can go inside another folder. So I have all my games in this drive, and I can go back to C by typing C colon. So this is how you change your drive. Okay. Now the next thing I want to talk about is called file extensions. Now this is really important. File extensions tell you about the type of the file. So we have different types of files. For example, we have PDF, we have a Word document, we have text files, and they all have extensions. So what an extension is, if you see the full file name of a file, you will see a dot in that file name at the end, and after the dot there will be two or three or sometimes four letters. Those letters are called the file extensions. Now by default in Windows you can't see the file extension, you have to turn it on. Okay, so to turn it on, open a file explorer, and inside view, go to show, and make sure file name extensions is turned on. Make sure that there's this tick mark. If it's not, you will not see the file extensions. If it is tick mark, you will see the file extension. So when you turn it on, you will be able to see all the file extensions. And if you're on Mac and for some reason it's turned off, you can turn it on by going to preferences in your Finder, and there will be an option to turn on file extensions. So the reason file extensions is important, as a programmer, you will be working with multiple types of files. So for example, you will be working on multiple languages, and all of these languages have different file types. And so you need to differentiate between them. That's why file extensions is important. So in the next video, we are going to install some softwares, and we are going to start coding, and we are going to start doing some practical things. So thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.